All right, here we go. The late night happy hour on a Friday. Dave Cokin is here. Adam Hill, you just saw him for a second there. He'll be up in just a couple seconds. He's getting set up. Lots to get to. Busy night. Friday's always about college football and NFL picks, but we got some other cool stories. It's crazy, Dave, is it not? And because I know you concentrate. Hey, you got a season. It's football. It's all football. And yet this, the last couple of days, the NBA has just exploded. Like, we're still trying to process it during the show because we love the NBA and we love these moves. It's like, man, there's too much going on.
Better to have too much than what we had in spring, which was nothing. Yep. I'd rather be overloaded.
Adam Hill is in. What's up, Adam?
I am. What's going on? How you guys doing?
Good, man. A lot of good stuff to get into. We're going to do the whole, as much of the college football slate as we can in a little bit, but I know you guys are on opposing sides on the Purdue and Minnesota game. Dave, first tell people who didn't watch the game what happened. Minnesota wound up winning, but Purdue got stymied at the end.
Touchdown pass overruled on a penalty for offensive pass interference. I did not think it was a good call. I think majority don't think it was a good call. Adam apparently does. What I saw was an attempted push-off, which I don't think succeeded by the offensive guy. And even if it did, at the same time, if you look at the tape, the defender's left arm is on the arm of the receiver. So at best, it's a wash. That's a no call.
Before Adam goes, I'll just say I thought there was a little bit of contact to get the push off by the receiver around the 1 yard line or the half yard line. The interesting part is it looked like the ref in the end zone was focused as they got to the middle of the end zone and the back of the end zone, and that's when he threw the flag. So it was, I don't know when he called it, or he just is slow and it took him a second to get the flag out. Because I think it could have been called OPI, but to Dave's point, and Adam might make this point too, it's a weird call, time and place, and I want flags, if it's whatever, 1 second into the game, 1 second left in the game, be consistent, but they're really not, right, Adam?
Yeah, consistency is my problem. Like, I'm not advocating that should be called, but when I watched the play live, I was infuriated. Like, I was like, what the fuck did that guy see to make that call? Like, there's nothing there. And then, they show the view from behind the play. It's unbelievable. Now, when you see the sideline camera, you're like, oh, okay. I mean, he held him off. He stopped the defender from following him. And did he commit an offensive pass interference? Yes. Was there also defensive pass interference? Probably. And the biggest problem, as you alluded to, Steve, is if that play happens in the first quarter, they're not throwing the flag. That's where issues come in. Like, I could absolutely accept that it was an offensive pass interference if you're making that call all the time. Now, if you're making that all the time, the games are going to fucking suck. It's going to be like every play. Like, all right, offensive pass interference this play, defensive this play, offensive this play. That's what you're going to have. So, by the letter of the law, absolutely it was offensive pass interference. The only issue is that they never call it, and they're not consistent about it. And you could have also probably called defensive pass interference.
Yeah, and by the letter of the law, there should be a flag thrown on every play.
Yeah.
In every game.
Yeah.
So you can't call it. You just, to me, that's the referee deciding the game and not the players. And I just don't like that.
I will say the Twitter behavior before some others started to come in and say, hey, maybe it's a possibility. The flood of tweets that I did see were kind of childish. Led by Dan Dockich, who's a clown. Maybe he's got a voice search for him, so I'm sure we'll get a nasty message from him here in a second. But, he was flipping out. Other people are talking about fireable offense. No, it's a 50-50 play. I don't love it, but Jesus Christ, calm down with the fireable offense.
Yeah, I mean, look, every call's the worst call ever. Last week it was the spot in which game I can't remember which game. It was a terrible
that was
a terrible spot. Terrible.
Yeah.
Okay, that was worse than this. And worst ever. There's like 9 million ties for first on worst ever.
Yeah, the aforementioned Dockich. Of course, he has a name search.
What game was that? It was a Pac-12 game, right, Dave? Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was a Pac-12 game.
Yeah, it was the Washington
Oregon
State game. Yeah. Washington State, Oregon, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was terrible. It was an awful spot. They missed it by almost a yard.
Now you've got NFL people chiming in. Kevin Seifert just says, well, it was a couple hours ago. If the Big Ten made OPI reviewable, wait a second. I thought you fucking guys didn't want pass interference review. We wanted it. Now they blew it. They blew it at multiple times last year, but everyone's like, not working, canceled. Fuck you. Now you want
Here's the thing: if they review it, it's called stands.
And that was the problem last year. That's why they got rid of it, because the refs refused to follow the league's rules. Which, if you want to talk about fireable offense, that's a fireable offense. You're being insubordinate. How many calls, Adam? Do you remember? We were tracking the numbers. Actually, got overturned on pass interference. It was like less than 5%, because they're like, we're not going to job the officials and make them look bad. We will stick up for our own, whether it's the right or wrong call.
Yeah, and that was the problem with it. That's why I think if you're going to have reviews and you're going to review, I don't have a huge problem with it reviewing pass interference penalties. I had a problem with the way that they did it, and they allowed the referees who made the call to then decide if they were going to overturn it or not.
Never made any sense to me.
It didn't make any sense. It needs to be a completely independent. In fact, I would advocate for somebody having access to the video that's not watching the game and just watching the play, not knowing the time, the score, the situation, or what the call on the field was, and making the call from replay on slow motion, isolated. I think that would be the way to do
it. CJ Cards fan, I don't know how much we're going to do the shutdown thing. I don't know when it's getting shut down. We've been talking about the last couple of days, so I don't think I'm going out tonight. But yeah, CJ Cards fan says, sitting at PT's watching you guys from my phone, enjoying a few beers before the bars are shut down. I don't think the bars are getting shut down. I think they're going to go back to the rules that they had, which to me are ridiculous, where you're going to be off the bar again and have to get served. So,
well, they might change the hours. I don't know.
And you know what, Adam, to this audience, if people didn't see it last night, Adam, mention your touche to that a 10p or 11p close actually helps COVID. Like, helps COVID prevention. Because last night you mentioned, like, yeah, well, what if people aren't done with the night? Where do they go?
They go to house parties.
Right.
And I talked about it last week that I was in LA for the Chargers-Raiders game, and bars were closing, and I was like, okay, back to the hotel. And I got a text from some friends that live down there, and they're like, hey, we're going to a house party. And I was like, no. Like, well, how dumb are you guys? Like, it's insane. So I don't know. It's tough.
I don't have. Look, I know some people will be infuriated with this, but I don't have a problem if they you can't give out tickets to people who violate the mask mandate. You get a ticket. Okay, it's as simple as that. That doesn't mean that everybody's going to get caught, but it's like speeding. People speed all the time. Not that many people get caught, but it's still reasonably effective.
Yeah. At least you have to think about it.
Or the seatbelt rule.
It's a threat.
You get a ticket for a seatbelt.
It's funny.
This drives me nuts. Just put the fucking mask on.
Yeah.
It's such a minor inconvenience. Oh, you're screwing with my rights. Shut up.
It's funny. I've been saying on these conversations, I really have seen like 99.9% mass cooperation. And I swear, I walk into the TI today to do the show, and I'm going up and down. I'm going down in this case. Those super long escalators that go back to the parking garage, and I look over, and there's like 3 jackasses. They're wearing the mask, but it's either a chin diaper or it's under their nose. And I just stare at them. I'm like, just fucking follow the rules.
Right.
You're thinner than me. I'm fat, and I can breathe through my little mask. Like, you're not gasping for air. And I know it's a stupid minor thing, but that's what annoys people is like, if we're going to follow the rules, then just you follow the rules. That's when people get pissed.
And to Aaron point there, we said I'm in the industry. I hope we shut down tomorrow. That is that's the dirty little secret, or the part that I don't think a lot of people know about the first shutdown of casinos is that the casinos were all on board.
Right.
Maybe not all, but most of them were on board because they knew it was going to actually cost more to operate with nobody here for a month than it was to stay open. So they were like, yeah, go ahead and shut down.
Sisolak hasn't done a goddamn thing without the approval of the casinos. And I'll use this line for the 15th time. When people are like, oh, whatever California does, we follow. He Gavin Newsom rules the West. Like, no, it doesn't.
No.
If the casinos insisted on staying open, they'd be open.
Yeah.
Well, look, the reality is they're the lifeblood of the city.
Yep.
That's just the way it is. Oh, the casinos shouldn't have that much power. Yeah, they kind of should because they employ most of the people. And without them, we got tumbleweeds blowing around. Okay, the casinos built the city, and that counts.
And Eddie G,
good for you, Eddie.
Yeah, it's an isolated deal. I've been down to the TI for like 8 shows now, and I haven't seen any issues. It was just funny that I was saying I've seen like 99.9% mass cooperation, and then I see a couple of people just going up the escalator because they're just dying to get out of the casino. It's been rough the whole time. They got it, down underneath their nose.
The good thing is, the anti-mask percentage has really diminished. It's now really, if you're in that group now, you're in an overwhelming minority, probably less than 10%. It's everybody wears them now. It's just become, okay, it's part of life. Just going to have to get used to it until this is done.
They do, but as soon as, like, when they go to talk to people, they pull it down and lean in, and you're like,
well, that's just being dumb. That's just kind of being dumb.
It is, but but
it's not. It's not the same thing as these people who actually were organizing meetings.
Right, of course. Of course.
Wayne Root's group. We're going to protest this. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
War.
That's very true.
Role model war. I miss his columns. The RJ blew it. Adam. Bring him back.
I didn't know he was not in the RJ anymore. I didn't know that.
Yeah, we've moved on.
That might be part of the problem. That you didn't notice that he was gone.
Yeah.
By the way, just one political note. What's his name? The guy who lost to Susie Lee?
Dan Rodimer.
I mean,
Big Dan.
Just a word to Dan. If the RJ endorses your Democratic opponent, you got no shot, okay? You have no chance. Just go away.
Big Dan is asked for a new election. He's not going to get it, though.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think so.
No need to back it up. So, Adam, I want you to explain why you, myself, and John Von Tobel were so thrilled tonight to see the news with Chris Wood, the former UNLV player. The story goes back 5 and 6 years. I've been sending out like money bags, old pictures of him looking happy. I think this is tremendous. If you didn't see it, folks, he signed a 3-year, $41 million deal with the Rockets. What a great story, and especially with what went on back in 14 and 15, right, Adam?
Yeah, the way that fans treated him at UNLV, you're saying, and mocked him when he went to the draft, and never appreciated what he was or what he could be, and talked about how he completely underachieved and didn't care. You look at his numbers, and you're like, dude, you don't put up the kind of numbers that he did without caring. Yeah. By the way, without playing hard.
15 points, 11 rebounds, and 3 blocks in his final season. He, not going to say single-handedly, but he did, led them to a victory over a really highly touted Arizona team. And I still believe if the fans were backed him a little more positively, he actually may have stayed for another year. Now, that Rebels team the following year, because that was the year that Zimmerman came in, it got beat to snot. They certainly could have used Chris Wood as another big, and he would have been one of the best players in the conference. But I truly believe the fact that I think UNLV fans have sort of recalibrated. They're more realistic now, right? But that was the Rice era, and people were out of effing control. And this kid played well. He'd have some down games here and there, and they're like, he doesn't look like he's trying hard. Like, they literally would rather have a 6'6" dude going 12 and 6 who's like jumping on the floor and effort guy. Like, who gives a shit? I like it. And you know what? Could he have played harder at times? Sure, he could have. But he was a really good player, and he could have been a building block moving forward. And people gave him shit, and it was disgusting. I'm not saying what the RJ did was disgusting. He has a draft party. You guys snap a picture of him. He's all slumped over. He's all depressed. And the Rebel fans, instead of rallying around him and going, you know what? You're going to make it. You're young. Just mature a little bit. We're rooting for you. They all piled down even more, and they were like, yeah, screw him, man. He's never going to be an NBA player. Well, now he's got lifetime money, so Good for him.
Good for him. You know, he was one of there's certain guys who look like they're not going all out. It's just their physical style. Eric Dickerson used to get that all the time when he played in the NFL because he just had a stride that kind of looked like he wasn't pushing it.
Yep.
It was stupid. I mean, Eric Dickerson's one of the best running backs that ever lived. He was great. He just happened to have a running style and it didn't give the appearance that he was really pushing it, but he was, because you don't have the career Eric Dickerson had without giving it everything you've got. Smooth. Who said that? Smooth. That's part of it. When a guy looks smooth, sometimes it gives the affectation that he's not really trying. It's ridiculous.
I don't remember though. Was John real hard on Chris Wood?
That I don't recall.
Adam, I don't.
He definitely took shots.
Okay. All right. I will get on John about that. By the way, Chris Wood is 25. He's 25. And now he's got a 3-year deal for $41 million. He's going to be up for another contract if he plays well. And, hey, this could go – I think it's going to go two ways. The Rockets could be pretty good, and now he'll be on, a team with stars, right? So that he'll be featured in the playoffs. They could also blow, and then the kid might be like, 22-7 and star that way and get another big contract. So I'm rooting for him.
Me too. Everybody says he's a nice guy. I never met him. Adam, you probably did. I heard nothing but nice things about him.
Yeah, I always liked Chris. I thought he was always a good kid and the kind of kid you want to cheer for. And I thought it was very unfair, a lot of the way that he was treated. And it's good to see. It's good to see him be able to cash in, especially because it wasn't an easy path for him.
Oh, wow.
He grinded through the D League and G League, whatever it is now. What's that?
I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry I interrupted you there. It's good for Jim Gemma. I missed this one and all the craziness tonight that Derek Jones got $19 million for 2 years.
Oh,
so $60 million. Now, Derek Jones, the fans love Derek Jones, and Derek Jones got screwed over by eligibility issues, and his career got cut short. But I'll tell you what. This is the other angle that's great on this is with all of those 5 stars, right? Top 50, in some cases, top 15 guys that Dave Rice and company landed. Chris Wood and Derek Jones were not those guys. Chris Wood was a pretty underrated dude or under the radar dude. I remember when Derek Jones signed, we're like, all right, we got to start doing some research on this guy. He's from outside of Philly, like a top 125 guy. It's funny, just like Pat McCaw, right? And now all 3 are in the NBA, and Pat McCaw, with luck, is probably going to be a 10 or 12-year pro. So it's funny, out of all of those 5 stars that were recruited, those guys have had the toughest time making the league, right? More recently, Brandon McCoy, you go back to Rashad Vaughn. Obviously, Big Zim has had tons of trouble making the league. And then you get good players, but really they were all top 125 guys, and they're all going to make a nice living in the NBA. That's pretty cool. Really cool.
Hopefully we got a couple more guys that'll come out of this year's team that get a look. I'm excited, by the way. I know I'm not having delusions of grandeur, but I like the staff. I think there's some talent on this team. Whether the season is completely disjointed and that has an impact on the results, I don't know. I have no idea. That's guesswork, but things are looking up.
Well, I think the difference with this team is, one, you got to see last year that Otzelberger can coach.
Yep.
Just as important, if he had any attitude issues, and I don't think he did, he just wanted guys to play the way he wanted to play. They've bought into his system, and I think that what's really important about the Runnin' Rebel coaching staff now is, I'm not going to say Marvin's staff didn't have cohesion. I don't know that he had great assistants across the board, but one of Dave Rice's problems, and you know this, Adam, is that the coaches seem to be fighting for power amongst themselves on the assistant level, but also with Dave. And then that spills over to the players. So
there's no question.
I think Otzelberger has a real cohesive coaching staff, and if there is I don't even know if there's a pecking order. I think everyone's got a job, and I haven't. Maybe that's different. I didn't see it, and I haven't heard there's been any sort of bickering between the coaches. That's a big deal to the players.
I think having Kevin Kruger on this staff is a huge plus. Former
So I was gonna say
UNLV guy, obviously.
So I was going to say, there's not going to be much bickering with Kevin on the staff.
No, and the thing is, he's going to bring a lot of what Lon brought here in terms of the way his approach is. It's going to be just like his dad's, and that's a great thing for UNLV because we did pretty well with Lon at the helm, and I'm really really glad that Kevin's back at UNLV.
I think a lot of us are, but yeah, there's no question, Steve, that there was power struggles at the time of Dave Rice, and I think
the fact that Heath Schroyer, and I like talking to Heath. He seems like a decent guy, but I mean he overwhelmed Rice at times. Come on, they had an assistant who was arguably the best defensive coach, assistant defensive coach, or assistant in specializing in defense, like on the West Coast, and they never really let him run the defense that he wanted.
Yeah.
But that's also, I think that this is why I'm not crazy as a rule, unless they're older and they just want to be part of it. I'm not crazy about having guys who clearly want to be head coaches as assistants because they're just there to, and that's, I'm not knocking Heath, who I knew a little bit and he seems like a terrific guy, but you can't have more than one head coach. And I thought that Heath was head coach number 2 or 1A, and I think that's just going to lead to troubles.
Well,
I've always found that to be true in the NFL, college football, whatever. You can only be one head coach.
I think you can have those guys. You can have those guys that have aspirations as long as they understand what their job is.
Yes, exactly.
And like Justin Hudson was that's who Steve's referring to. Justin Hudson is a brilliant defensive coach who also everyone understood was going to be a head coach. But when he was an assistant, he was an assistant.
Right.
And Heath, who I also like, and you guys have echoed that, like I like him as a person. Heath was trying to be a head coach as an assistant and not really allowing people to do their jobs because he wanted to show what he was doing. That's where it does become an issue. And that is the biggest fault. Like as much as people, want to criticize Dave Rice and everything that he did when he was here, and I get it, and I understand that I've been, over the top positive on him, but that was the biggest lesson that he needed to learn. And that's, I think, is the lesson that I hope that he learned from this job. So when he gets another job, he can know that he needs to understand how to put people in their place, say, this is your job, you do your job, and not allow what happened there to happen with all the egos getting out of control. Everybody wanted to be the head coach and not really getting that under control. And there were some things with players too. The Caden Reinhardt situation was managed horribly. Horribly.
Sometimes when family members get involved,
yep,
there's not much. I don't even know how you handle that.
And those are it's fair to say, hey, that's a first time head coach not understanding a lot of those things. Where when Caden Reinhardt's dad comes in and says you need to do this, this, and this, or he's going to leave, you should say, then tell him to get the fuck out. Like you shouldn't completely alter your entire game plan and your rotations to please one kid and keep him around. But those lessons are learned when you're like, oh, I don't want to lose this guy. This guy could be our future. Like I don't want to leave. Well, you have to take those stands sometimes, and either they're going to respect it and be better for it, or they'll leave and you move on.
Interesting. Always fun to look back. But to Dave's point, I think the Rebels can do well, and then this is where I'm bullish is that I think for the first time in a long time, you actually go into a season and you're like, they can play against well-coached teams and not be on the wrong side of the matchup with the coaching. Like I don't feel like San Diego State is absolutely going to roll them because of coaching, or Utah State has an excellent coach. I don't feel like the staff going in is going to be overmatched that way. They've got a chance to be one of the big boys and beat all the big boys. So we'll see if they do it. Weird season, the way it's scheduled. Weird season.
Well, and I saw one of my least favorite things, and I'm sorry, I'm not calling you out. I can't remember who said it. Somebody said, "Oh, here, Aaron." I'm not calling you out for this. I really get annoyed by this. I'm afraid Otts will jump to a top 20 program painfully quick. Like, good. If he does well enough to do that, then good. That's a good thing.
If a coach leaves to get a much better job, it means the next coach in is going to be someone. Let's just say it enhances your ability to replace him with somebody real good.
Unless it's Chris Beard.
Well, okay.
Let's not get started, please. I get so fucking pissed off at that goddamn region bags. I hate them so much. I really do. That the whole process. Now they're at not. I mean, I bust on Chris Beard, but I also understand. We as a state led by the regions completely screwed that up and left the door open for Texas Tech to come in. And if you're a Rebel fan, you also got screwed by weird circumstances with some coaching dominoes that left Texas Tech open. So,
right.
Well, Beard hasn't done anything at Texas Tech, has he? It's not like Rebel fans have to watch that every single year and be like, what could have been? What could have been? And don't blame him.
No, it's not Chris
It's not his fault. It's
No.
not his fault at all.
No,
he takes some blame. You sign up for a job. There's a character test there. I'm not saying he had to stick around, but it would have been cool if he honored the freaking hire.
Well, but the thing is, I honestly don't know that there's another job that he would have left for.
Yeah.
I mean, that's home for him. And it just fell right in his lap. And obviously it's worked out pretty well. No, I have more problems with. See, here's where I have way more problem. Is what Mick Cronin did.
Oh yeah,
he obviously played. I mean, he played UNLV like a fiddle to get more money at Cincinnati, and it worked for him. That's where he was never going to take this job. Okay, and we said that. I was on the air with you then, Steve. We were doing the show, and we both knew he's not taking this job. This is a show. He's doing this to get more money out of Cincinnati, and it worked beautifully. And then he finally said to Cincinnati, you know what? I'll take the UCLA job. That was a job he would have obviously. Yeah, okay, it's UCLA. He was never taking the UNLV job, and I thought UNLV got suckered and embarrassed in that whole deal. Not so much in the Chris Beard, because it was just one of those weird situations where just about the only job that Beard possibly leaves for opens up.
Well, and the other thing with Cronin, man, I think we can say it now. I think we were being nice for a long time. When you get low character people together trying to negotiate a deal, I mean, do you feel bad if one of them gets screwed over? Right?
Yeah.
I mean, unfortunately, TKM at times, a lot of negative on that record.
Well, look, and
the other thing was she was also she was one of the people who were kind of led around by boosters, and you do need boosters, but I'll give credit to DRF for the most part. Desiree, made these two hires, got money, made it work, and she didn't have to she basically chose to not, sit there and juggle the needs of, 13 different boosters. She sort of narrowed it down, and that's how she got the money. And that was one of the biggest problems with UNLV is that they're trying to listen to 15 different voices. If you're the boss, you're the boss. You got to make a decision.
I always thought that Tina what she did in terms of building sponsorship and making Las Vegas Bowl, really considering not a major bowl, incredibly successful. Shows her abilities, but that didn't translate into being a good athletic director. Yeah. I mean, they're just two completely different jobs. If I'm putting together a bowl game someplace, a new bowl game, she might be the first person I'd call to make everything go, because she was phenomenal at that based on my experience. But AD is completely different.
This is interesting from Doug. He says, if Lotus hired you on Wednesday and ESPN National hired you on Saturday, you wouldn't work for Lotus. Nah, I don't think you know me too well. There'd have to be some different standards. First of all, longevity is an important thing to me. I don't want to have to go somewhere and get dumped in a year and a half. For me to live on the East Coast, honestly, I would have to have my pay doubled or tripled. Now, Bristol's different than a lot of places, but like big cities where I would have to drive, I'm crazy. So I got to be really careful about where I live. So don't assume, that I would. Okay. I'll just leave it at that. So
No, you're right. Listen,
no, I'm just going to say, like,
I can tell you when
there's no arrogance here, and I think people will take it as arrogant. Like, I have had some opportunities, and I'm just like, nah, I don't want to go to some giant city, and work for a network. I don't want to do it. So
I turned down a job this is when I was in radio. I got a pretty good offer to go to San Francisco.
Right.
I didn't want to live in San Francisco. It was more money, but it was like, I don't want to live there.
Yeah.
That definitely ties into it.
Now, if I was 35, maybe. But in recent times, I've come to appreciate what Vegas is and all the other stuff that goes into doing radio, and the simplicity of not having to freaking drive all over Kingdom Come to do your job. So, or commute, or take a train. And to Dave's point, San Francisco is an interesting place to get around, right?
Oh,
it would be a great place to live if you could afford it, though.
Yeah.
Well, no, I could have afforded it, but it wasn't. I liked, especially then, I liked Las Vegas a lot better. There wasn't much. There weren't many places. I don't know if there was any place I would have left Las Vegas for, because especially at that time. I mean, I was a ridiculously nocturnal person. I was out every night, and I liked the fact that I could go anywhere I wanted, 24 hours a day, get a great fillet at 2 a.m. if I wanted to, go down to Ruth's Chris, whatever. You can't do that anyplace else. That your quality of life matters to me. It matters more than money. It always has.
Yeah,
my thing, Dave.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry on that. What the point that you're making right there? When people say, like, why do you live in Vegas? I'm like, because I do everything late at night, and I don't know why I would ever want to get sushi at 4 a.m., but I could.
Yes, 100%. Yeah. I can't tell you how many times, not recently, but I can't tell you how many times it's been 1 o'clock in the morning, and it's like, geez, I'd like to get some sushi. I'd drive over to Sushi Coma right by the Lotus Studios, because they're open at like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, whatever it is. Sit down and do all you can eat sushi at 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. This is terrific. Can't do that anyplace else, guys.
Yeah.
I'll also admit I am someone here saying salt of the earth. Not really. Adam has to hear it more than Dave ever did. I've gotten more clunty as I've gotten older. Like, that part of it is, can you coexist, cunty? Can you coexist, with your staff, and more importantly, with management? And some places are a lot more patient. Lotus is a good place to work because they leave you alone. They don't micromanage. Like, I get micromanaged, and I'm going to be pushing back all the time. And at some point, they're going to be like, "This guy's a fucking dick." Like, we can get any other guy to do his show. So that's all. And again, this has nothing. Being a college, well, in some way, college coaches have some of that same challenge. I've heard, now these guys are coveted. They make tons more than, the majority of radio people. But you've heard lots of college basketball coaches who are like, hey, it's super important to make sure that from the top to the bottom, we're all in line. And I can imagine, I can only imagine as a coach working for an AD who's busting your balls all the time. And then the unknown, like when someone comes in and they're like, hey, we're going to offer you, double, like Mark Few, if he could get offered $7 million, right? But I'm sure he looks at it like cost of living in Spokane is nothing compared to these markets. I've got a lifetime job, and you know what? I get along with the school and the people above me. They let me do what I want. So I don't know. I think it's important to be in line with your bosses. If you're not, then it could be a miserable existence.
To the people that are arguing against San Francisco, don't tell me. As Steve knows, I lived in the Bay Area last year. I get it.
I love this. I live in the Bay Area.
I was a Bay Area resident.
I hate these conversations.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. You were there in Oakland, or covering Oakland. Yeah.
Come on. I don't want to come off as any of us come off as some arrogant dick who, we've all been coveted heavily. But the NBA news, aside from Chris Wood, the Lakers thing is fascinating. What do you think of this, Dave? They've gone out now. They've got last year's Sixth Man of the Year and the runner-up for the Sixth Man of the Year. Both guys are great scorers. I think Harrell actually needs to mature. So now being around AD and LeBron is going to be friggin' awesome. And on the flip side, you've now debilitated one of your chief competitors in the West. This has been a disastrous night for the Clippers, who then responded by giving one of the Morai twins, Marcus, $16 million a year
I like it. Here's why. And I'm not an NBA guy. I barely follow the league. I don't handicap it. I don't bet it, and really don't follow it much. But I think life is better when the Clippers suck. Okay, it's just more. It seems more normal when the Clippers are really. This to me is a sign that we're getting closer to getting our world back to normal. I am blaming this whole pandemic on the fact that the Clippers were contenders. This is completely out of character for the Clippers. They're supposed to be shitheads all the time. The owner, who seems like a good guy, needs to sell the team back to Donald Sterling so we can just ridicule them at every level. And that's when you know things will be normal, when the Clippers really suck. And you can play Seat Williams' The Clippers, that old soundbite. No, I mean, I'm joking, and it's not very funny. But they're a bad organization. And it's kind of nice to see them reverting back to their old form.
I don't hate the Clippers, and in spite of the fact that I'm wearing a Lakers jersey. I do want to say, here you go. Thank you so much to one of my heroes, Dwight Howard, for bringing LeBron another title. So now he's off. He's going to work in the East now. He's going to work with Philly. So it was another great year for Dwight Howard in LA. I'm joking, but. Where'd
the guy with the rings, the shooter from San Antonio, Danny Green, where did he end up?
Oh, my God. Is he in Philly? He got traded like
Philly.
7 times. Yeah, he went in the
deal. Consider them contenders. Wherever that guy goes.
You think?
Championships seem to fall. Well, no, he's just one of those guys who always seems to be in the right place at the right time.
I think it works the other way around.
Teams. I know, but he's got a ring with San Antonio. He's got a ring with Toronto. He's got a ring with the Lakers. I mean, I'm not saying he's not this generation's Robert Horry, but he's still, Well,
he's just a perfect player for a contender. If you're a contender, you go find Danny Green, not just because he's got championship experience. He understands what the finals are about, can defend, and he can shoot the three, and everybody needs those guys. Yeah. Like, he is the perfect guy to go to a contender. So you're right. I think if Philadelphia, if they're getting him, they believe they're a contender for sure. But Steve, you said he's been traded. Has Trevor Ariza been traded like 6 times this week?
I know. I think he's now. Is he with OKC now? Because he got traded again tonight in like.
I thought he went to Dallas or something.
I don't know. It's insane. You know what?
Right. He went to OKC.
Okay. Yeah, I thought I read that tonight. That's funny.
But because of the way the league works, right? Like these trades can't be official yet.
Right.
Trevor Ariza is.
Yeah. Good.
He's still on Portland. Because you can't officially make any trades. So Portland traded him, and then somebody else traded him. Detroit traded him. Now he's on OKC, but he's still technically on Portland because none of these deals can be official yet. So somewhere the chain could break down.
And things can unravel. We saw, the Bucks. One of the Bucks' big additions last week was Bogdanovich. Now that ended. Now they're having to rework what they did, in their deals. And OKC. I think that's part of the Milwaukee, whatever's happened with Milwaukee. OKC actually has now sent Steven Adams down to New Orleans, which is kind of an interesting combo with Zion and Steven Adams. That's about 550 pounds of 5 and 4.
By the way, Aaron, you're right. I thought he went from Detroit to OKC. He went from OKC to Detroit tonight. So he's on Detroit is where he's at now, I think.
I know. Just hit refresh on everything. I don't know what's going on.
I have a question. Now, the NFL can get by with no fans in the stands. I don't know how much baseball can. I think they need fans. The NBA has their TV money.
All TV money.
Money is phenomenal in the NBA.
Which, by the way, before you get to your question, before you get to your question, how old is the goddamn narrative from these dingbats who hate the NBA and they're like, ratings. The players right now are like, we're not affected at all.
No,
we're getting paid because
their TV money is amazing.
If you put on the games, obviously TV is obligated to pay you, and maybe there's a wave coming up in the future where TV cuts back the money. I don't think it's going to happen because for them, sports is one of the cheapest options to produce.
Yep. So, but here's the question I had.
Yeah.
The league that doesn't get the real good TV money, and I think they do need fans in the stands, is the NHL. Adam, I'll ask you, because I think you're closer to it than any of us. How late might it be before the season starts? Because I do not think my opinion, they're not going to start a season until they can put some fans in the stands at least.
Oh,
You've
wow.
noticed the only league that hasn't announced a start date, right?
I'm thinking February.
Even baseball has.
I'm thinking February or even later.
No.
Well, I don't.
Really?
They need the
Yeah.
fans.
Yeah, I think February. But will we have fans in February? Like, I hope so.
I think there's a pretty good chance. I mean, we are moving along on the vaccine.
We're a year before it's available to everyone.
I
And
don't
we
know
don't
if it'll
need
be that
to.
long.
All right. Let me throw this out.
And by the way, Trevor Ariza is on Detroit. Just so we know. Portland, Dallas, Denver, Detroit. It's OKC. He's on Detroit now.
Miller J. Vegas says small markets will lose money with no fans. Could the NHL owners get together, and especially a guy like Bill Foley, and go, you know what? Everyone can't get this vaccine until like November. What if the team offered up the vaccine to all their season ticket holders? And then you can, and actually for Bill Foley, it would play beautifully. One, he would come off as a great humanitarian. Two, if you don't want to take the vaccine and you're an anti-vaxxer, Adam, what would Bill Foley do? Sorry.
Well, Bill Foley would say you can come anyway, but what would a responsible owner do? Say you're not coming in. Sorry.
You think there's any, just because he contributed to a lot of Republican efforts like Trump, do you think he's actually an anti-vaxxer if it comes to making his money at his arena?
My whole point
was,
gets it.
If you're a fan and you wouldn't take the vaccine from Bill Foley, then guess what? We got to take your seats and resell them. Sorry.
Wait, is Foley actually sticking people? Is he going to work the doors?
No, but you're going to have to, I don't know, show a certificate or however they're going to work it. I mean, here's the thing on Bill Foley. I don't care what party he supports. One thing he's done from day one with this franchise, I memean, they've been such an asset to the community. Now, I know a lot of that's the players. They're good guys, but I mean, it does start at the top. And I'm a Golden Knights fan in terms of the way they've run things in Las Vegas.
All right. That was a good greeting from Adam. He's out.
Yeah, go ahead. You guys can go ahead and talk about the next.
Well, no, I mean, look, I am judging from a distance. You're into more of an everyday situation because it's your job, but it's like there are just so many community projects that the franchise and the players, and obviously a lot of the players deserve a lot of the credit, have readily gotten involved in. I mean, they've got a very good reputation around town, right?
Yeah, I'd say they care enough about the fans that if the fan died in the arena, they would probably at least like pick them up before they took the money out of their pocket and sold their ticket to somebody else.
But there's, the other side was, like there's been animal adoptions, and players nights show up, going to schools when they were open and talking to the kids. Golden Knights show up. I mean, this, and believe me, I know this from around town. Restaurateurs, I mean, these guys are tremendous. They show up. They want to be friends. They'll take pictures, sign autographs. Never a squawk. I mean, that's good. Now, and again, that's the players. But it really speaks well for the organization as a whole, regardless of who gets the credit for it.
All right.
Yeah, and to be fair, the Raiders have been really, really good in the community too.
Yes,
I know,
they have. Yes, they have.
Maybe not as far as tipping all the time.
That
but
was an isolated incident like this. And by the way, he's a tremendous receiver, and from all accounts, a really nice kid. He just did. I think he just didn't know, and hopefully he knows now.
Got
a good lesson.
You're right.
It was a good lesson to learn. Let's bounce through some college football and then some NFL, and then we got some. You saw with Chris Wood, there were some receipts that we had from Chris Wood bashers. So I was making sure to tweet those out. People bashing him 5 years ago, and now he just got a $41 million contract. And we'll have some more on receipts that have been held with folks in the political world. I have to play some videos for you.
I love that stuff.
Horses. Oh yeah. Well, you know what's great, Dave? I mean, you're a little older than I am. We go far enough back where you could throw something out there on radio, especially, and then 5 years later be like, completely opposite side, and people will be like, wait, I think you said the opposite. Like, okay, roll the tape. We don't have any tape right now. You can go back and get video and audio of people being completely contradictory 5 years ago and call them on the carpet.
It's hilarious. I don't even know who the people were, but I think it was NFL Network, or it might have been ESPN. After the Patriots barely beat the Jets,
Right.
it's like, they're done. They're terrible. Blah, 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 blah. Then they go out there and play
2
great
weeks
the next week.
Yep.
And all I heard was, they're playoff contenders. They're serious. Same people are saying the same thing. It's like,
Well, that's why
week.
that old takes exposed thing is one of the greatest Twitter handles ever, because people go back and pick something up from 8, 5, 3 years ago where you were completely on opposite side, or you were just wrong.
I was just pointing that out to somebody actually right at the beginning of the show on Twitter, because I had made the comment, Pro Football Focus put out a thing that Isaiah Simmons has been playing like out of his mind the last couple games.
Yeah.
And I reposted. I was like, thank goodness, because I was so strong on him before the draft.
Sure.
Like I'm glad that this is happening. And the person was like, yeah, you and 1,000 other people like thought it was a good pick. I'm like, yeah, the difference is I did like 20 interviews. I have story after story on the internet, and I have tweet after tweet that are like receipts. If he's terrible, I know I'll hear about it. So I have like a vested interest now, like a lot of us in media do, of being right about things, because the receipts are there.
The other difference is most pussies who are totally on there, they're not pussies because they liked him, but most people who said he was going to be great and this unbelievable pick would never, admit that, hey, this was shaky for a while, or I might have been wrong.
Yeah.
They'll just go and delete their tweet, which is unforgivable. All right, Dave, let's get to some games. We'll hit on a couple of the big games we hit on Cofield and company, but there's a lot we didn't hit on. All right, what are we doing with Penn State now against Iowa? Penn State, as high as 1.5, it's a pick. What do you think?
It's bad enough for Penn State. Now they've got another scandal that's breaking. I'm going back to what I said last week. I think James Franklin is on the hot seat there, and now with this scandal, if it's got any legs, he's really on the hot seat.
If this one happened, because it starts the lead to the story is, hey, Micah Parsons got in a fight with a kid who now transferred to California. The fight got bad enough that the kid who's at California, Humphrey, said, I had to pull a knife on him because I felt like really in danger. Well, the other part of the story is this kid Humphreys claims that he was being sexually harassed in the locker room, that there were like 3 guys who were the ringleaders. One of the guys running around naked all the time, trying to hump people, fuck with them. And when I saw that, I was like, are you fucking kidding me at Penn State? Now, it could all be, disproven. I think there's been a couple of details that have been thrown out over time as they've been trying to establish this. But I mean, when I read it, because the other key to the story is Franklin went and, when he was talking to Humphreys, he's like, don't call the cops. All right. That's the last thing we need. Don't call the cops. And it's like, bro, you can't do that at Penn State based on what they've had going on before you got there. And the other thing is you lied in a rape case, Franklin, at Vanderbilt. So, I mean, I don't know if this happened, but.
Well, but all I'm saying is
Franklin, Franklin has an MO for doing it in the past.
If there's even a little bit to it, the fact they're 0-4 isn't going to help. It's a lot easier to deflect things like this if you're playing well. If you're 3-1 with the only loss to Ohio State, okay. But 0-4 and maybe 0-5 after tomorrow, that seat's getting hot. And Penn State at this point is impossible for me to bet on or against, because they've completely dominated 2 of their opponents and lost the games. I mean, they beat Indiana like a drum and blew that game. And last week, I mean, I thought he made a good move benching Clifford, even though the other kid can't throw. The team really got going, and they dominated Nebraska in the second half, and they should have at least gotten overtime. They found a way not to with some really poor red zone play calling. They're better than Iowa. I don't like Iowa's quarterback. The fact that Iowa's had 2 good games in a row, they didn't exactly beat the best teams in the country. Penn State ought to beat them, but I wouldn't trust Penn State. If you gave me money and said bet it on Penn State, I'd just stick it in my pocket and tell you I'd lie. Okay.
Do you guys know the details on the Pennsylvania and the mask and what might happen during the VTech Pittsburgh game?
I think I saw
VTech on the road laying 3. Are they going to have to wear a mask while they're playing or not?
No, I think I saw and Adam, you're leaning in, so you might have more details on it. But what I saw is that I guess it's the governor, is saying that it's kind of, I guess, how else to phrase it, making an exception for the sports teams.
Yeah, they're theoretically exempted. They weren't supposed
Right.
to be by letter of the law, but they did say, okay, you don't have to wear them when you're on the football field.
All right, so the game in general, Dave, what do you think?
I guess it's just a guess that Iowa finds a way to win, even though they're not the better football team. I think Penn State could be on the verge of unraveling completely if they haven't already.
All right. You right, Adam?
Yeah.
Dave, you said you laid how much against Florida State for Clemson?
30. I got a 35, but it's officially a 35.5. There was one shop locally that had a 35, but official purpose is 35.5. They're going to, I mean, unless they play badly, they're going to annihilate Florida State. It's both sides because Clemson hasn't played since Notre Dame. They really do want Trevor Lawrence to win the Heisman. You know, it's interesting. The Heisman is actually named after a Clemson guy, and no Clemson guy's ever won the Heisman. They want this. So the regulars are going to be out there. He's going to be out there in the fourth quarter, even if it's a slaughter. And if they take him out, DJ's maybe a future Heisman contender. So I think they're going to keep scoring all day long. Florida State, I'll give them credit for making an effort in the fourth quarter last week, which they didn't do the week before against Pittsburgh. At least they scored a couple of touchdowns against NC State, but NC State's not very good. And now they lose another defensive player this week who decided, I'm not going to play anymore. It's a guy who, one of the defensive linemen. They're down to Travis, who's a little, they haven't disclosed what the situation is, but he's questionable. I think he's going to play. But they've also got a true freshman that they'll have to put in at quarterback now because Purdy got hurt last week and he's done. It's just a complete clusterfuck at Florida State. It's not as bad as a couple of other schools because the coach isn't going to get fired, but they're a mess. And I think they might lose this by 55. I mean, they're just going to get killed in this game.
JT Daniels plays finally for Georgia. So what do you think? 25.5 against Mississippi State.
Well, I don't know how much rust there is because he hasn't played. I mean, it's his first football game since he was at USC. And I like the kid. I think he's got a chance to be a really good quarterback, but there might be some ring rust. And so I'll have to wait and see. I don't want any part of Mississippi State. Leach continues to be wildly overrated. He will not make a single adjustment on offense, despite the fact that the defenses have gone to this 8-man zone and there's nobody open. You got to run the ball, which they can't do. They're actually not that bad a team defensively. So maybe if Mississippi State can find a way to put 10 on the board, maybe they can cover this. But it could also be a complete runaway. Georgia should win the game by a big margin.
I'm guessing Ohio State will be 21 by the morning. Right now they're 20.5. There's a 21. I know none of us have been very high on Indiana. Are we still underrating them here? Can they hang with Ohio State?
I think it can hang for a half. And after that, they might get bulldozed. And I think I said this afternoon. You can take like the first 5 teams and then draw a line under them because there's a pretty big gap from there to everybody else. It's kind of like Cincinnati's a really good team, but they're not a top 5 team. And what's the line if Cincinnati plays Ohio State? It's pretty big. It's not quite this big, but it's big. And the thing is that Ohio State's coach, he is certainly cognizant of polls and things like that. And I think he wants to be the number 1 seed. And if he gets a chance to drill Indiana, he's going to do it. So I think full game, I like Ohio State. First half, I think Indiana's got a chance to hang in.
I don't think Ohio State's very good.
Excuse me? What?
I don't think they're very good.
What? Why not?
I mean, they're certainly not. I mean, just watching them, they're not as good as they have been in the past. They're certainly not as dominant. Maybe that's just early in the season. They had weird practices and all that. They just don't look like a dominant football team against inferior opponents like they have in the past.
Oh, they beat the crap out of it. Just look, they beat the crap out of Penn State. And I know Penn State's 0-4, but Penn State's done something really tough to do in their first 4 games. They've had 2 games where they've outgained the opponent by more than 200 yards and lost them both. That's not easy to do. Once, maybe. Twice, doesn't happen. No, I think they're real good. I've got them right there with Alabama and Clemson. And Notre Dame, a little bit behind, but not that much. Notre Dame's a pretty legit team.
All right. Adam, I know you don't bet Michigan games. Have you seen the number now? It's now gone up to it's now 12, and I was just checking Rutgers, the local paper or state paper, Star Ledger. I don't see anything on the Rutgers side that, would have moved it a bunch. So I think people have just woken up and they're like, hey, Michigan traditionally just kicks the shit out of Rutgers. So you have to lay 12 now. I got it at Michigan 9.5. Yeah,
I'm not laying it. I know that everybody's excited about Michigan out of the gates, but Minnesota's just not that good. And you remember before the year started, and my breakdown of Michigan was basically, I know people are excited about Milton, and I think there's talent there, but I just don't see it. Like I don't think it's going to happen. And he hasn't been great, and the offense hasn't been great, and the team is just ugly. It's real ugly out there.
Dave?
Rutgers. Shiano needs to get serious and recruit a quarterback.
They don't have one.
Because, this kid's he's not good. He's not good.
He can run, and that's what they're worried about because they're worried about the O-line sucking. But the problem last week was they've got an ace offensive coordinator who was at Oklahoma State. He's a Jersey guy. Sean Gleason he's good, but man, he got caught up in I'm going to run my offense, and this kid can't throw downfield with any accuracy, and he was just looping shit. So if they can actually play some power football and run the ball, then they have a shot in the game. But when they get in 3rd and long situations, they are just dead meat if this kid's got to throw downfield.
And I don't know that I want any part of Michigan at this point. Their season's over. They've got 1 game left in their season, which they'll lose. But that's the only game that matters to them at this point.
We'll see. December 12th. Let's go.
Yeah. Is this going to be? Will this be Jim Harbaugh's last chance to beat Ohio State? I don't think they'll fire him, but I think he could say, "Okay, I've had enough. I'm leaving."
I'm wavering on Harbaugh.
Oh my God! It's taken every year we press him on it, and I made the case the other day. I'm like, he's been there long enough. You got to have your team set. He's got to be loaded with talent. Like, how goddamn long does it take to build things at Michigan?
Well, I feel like this is a year where coaching really shows up.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought with everything that was going on, I was like, okay, if we are the best coach team, I think we are close. This is the year it's going to show up. And oh boy, has it not.
Oh boy is right.
Some other games, and you guys can throw in games if we don't get to them. If you want to hear about some of them, I'm going to bounce around a little bit. What do we think about? God, I'm always afraid when I'm looking at the board if a game's been canceled now. What do we think about San Diego State and Reno with the Aztecs on the road 1.5?
I think it's one of the best games of the day. I know there's a lot of respected opinions on the Wolfpack. They've done nothing that's not impressive so far, but 3 of their wins were against the absolute bottom of the Mountain West.
Right.
And I think that maybe getting overlooked. They're going to throw the ball, but you still have to run the ball a little bit, and you can't do that against San Diego State to any effect. San Diego State played well last week. I think the game's a flat toss-up. I really do. To me, whoever's the dog, take that side.
I'm on Reno.
Why?
I'll take the offense. I think one of the things that I've been noticing, and it's something that was said to us in an interview, and that I've been kind of looking at a lot more, and it makes sense, but it's also, you need somebody to say something sometimes to see the obvious, but that defense isn't necessarily a consistent thing all the time, and offense is going to be counted on a lot more. And I just think of a team that has 0 offense and a great defense, I'm not going to trust to win a game on the road like San Diego State. I don't think they can win this game against a team with a much better offense, even if their defense is far superior.
At least they took some shots last week. I I think they've got. I know the quarterback's not real good, but you just can't play the way they did against San Jose State. You have to run an offense, and we'll see if that happens tomorrow. Because I mean, what do you got to lose? Why not? And San Diego State does have tremendous reason to play this. I mean, they've lost 2 in a row to the Wolfpack, and they'd love to get this one. But listen, the guy's doing a great job at Nevada. I mean, you talk about an upgrade from Polian to this coach. My God, that's got to be one of the enormous jumps of all time. Because you want a coach who might be on his way to someplace else. Norville's a guy.
Can I also? I will point out one hesitation on Reno. Maybe you wait till close to kickoff, because the positivity rate in Reno right now is so out of control. Like, I'd almost be surprised if some players don't have it.
That's something that it's screwing with every good handicapper in the country is going through the same thing. I mean, perfect example is tomorrow's LSU Arkansas game. I don't know if the game. Still don't know. I don't even know if the game gets played.
Now it's a pick?
Well, LSU, I don't know who's going to be on the field for them. I have no idea who's going to be on the field for them at this point. And I can tell you this, if this were Arkansas at LSU, they already would have canceled the game. Because Arkansas, and the coach even said this, I think yesterday or the day before, he said, well, we're barely above the acceptable minimum.
Yeah.
So I just threw the game out. I mean, I've LSU on my power ratings is inside, but I don't want it.
A hoax bowl. So good.
That's funny.
Goddamn, I can't even keep track of all the coaches that have it too. Loxley, wasn't there a major coach today that it came out that he tested positive, or was that college basketball?
No, it was somebody in college football, and I can't remember who it was.
Oh, Diaz.
That's it.
Right, Danny Diaz in Miami. My God.
Yeah. And by the way, you said basketball. Like, keep an eye on basketball.
Oh, it's
going to be a mess. It is a shit show already.
Today.
Did you see what happened with Colorado State?
Yeah, CSU shut down, and then they lost their first week of games. They had a good, nice set of games.
Yeah, but they announced it like 4 hours earlier. They're like, we're going to play in part of this Corvallis Invitational thing they're starting next week. And then like 4 hours later, it's like, oh yeah, by the way, we're shutting down the program.
Yeah.
I have a very bad feeling about the upcoming college basketball.
Oh,
they're going to I have this. Where is it? Here it is.
First year I haven't bought it. I've read cover to cover every year.
And I always get this edition because I beat it up and it's just easy this way. I got more cross-outs already. I've lost track of the players. It's going to be ridiculous.
I've read cover to cover.
My volume is going to be so low in college basketball early on. If I play 3 games a week, that'll be a lot. So for anybody who signs up for the service at Wager Talk,
wow.
If you're looking for volume, pick somebody else because I'm not going to have a lot of games.
And I was going to say the worst part of it for fans and for the kids too, but also for handicapping. I mean, can you bet a college basketball game outside of an hour before the game? These coaches ain't going to say shit until the very last minute.
And you're going to see games canceled very late. It's if football. They've got all week to do it. College basketball, it's going to. I don't know how long. Believe me, nobody wants it more than I do because I love the game, and it makes the cash register ring. So I'm not by any means one of these. Oh yeah, I'm rooting for sports to shut down.
No,
God, that take when I see that take from people on Twitter, it's like you're an idiot. Nobody wants to see this stuff shut down. I just have a feeling that might happen.
Did you have something? I cut you off, Adam, on Colorado State. Do you have something else?
No. Just the fact that they schedule those games. It's going to be crazy just to watch. And I think Gil was asking about the UNLV game being televised. I saw as of yesterday it was not being televised.
It'll be streamed someplace though.
Yeah. Well, usually when it's not on, they usually throw a Facebook feed or something.
Yeah.
I'll say as of right now, it'll 100% be televised.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, good.
Tomorrow morning, 0%. I don't. I'll just tell you today, it changed between 2 and 4 from being off to being back on television. So,
Good.
Because it's nuts here. It's nuts with the Mountain West Conference. I mean, I don't know if Sisolak shuts everything down. Like, does that mean like you can't play college basketball? It's in close proximity with each other. By the way, when games are on TV from an optic standpoint, has anyone thought of this one? College football, they're trying to space a little bit by moving the boundaries out on the sidelines 20 to 20. Are we going to have? I mean, you can do it. The stands are going to be empty. Are you going to have like 4 guys on the floor, 4 guys in the first row, 4 guys in like the fourth row?
I think that's exactly
bet.
what you're going to get.
Right?
I think that's what you got to do.
It's weird, man. It's going to be totally weird. But yeah, I'll just tell in all seriousness, Gil was asking. The plan is they're trying to get all 3 because there's 3 non-televised games, one before the Maui and the two games after. The 2 after Eastern Washington and Pepperdine. They're trying to get all 3 on local TV. Like they know this is a big deal. You guys can't go there, so they're trying.
I'm unreasonably excited about Maui.
I don't know how Dave, he's going to travel to Asheville for the Maui Classic.
Are the coaches going to wear the Hawaiian shirts in Asheville, North Carolina?
I don't know. I was actually thinking about buying one before I go, just because if I'll be in the front row on TV, I should probably wear one.
Is Bill Walton going to be there?
It's a great question. I hope so.
Because he is.
He ain't going to Dave, he ain't going to Asheville. Come on.
I doubt it.
It's a cool town.
I've never been there. Well, I mean, there's some beautiful spots in the Carolinas.
The guy's 6'11". He loves warm weather. He's physically a mess at this point. He's what? How old is he? 70? Like, I don't know, man.
Yeah, probably.
I hope he's there. He's funny.
He's a couple of years older than I am, I think so.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's a great field. It's gonna be really fun to just be around an event like that again. I'm excited.
I just hope it takes place. It is a really good field.
Me too, Dave. It's a long week between at Falcons and at Jets. It's a long week. I need those 3 days of college basketball.
Gil the Thrill says UNLV. I appreciate them trying. Hopefully they pull it off. We have a team that should be a contender, so we need to be able to watch somehow. So they get it. They get it. And they, when if fans are allowed at any point in the season, but especially next year, I mean, they got something good going on here. They are in dire straits when it comes to the Thomas and Mack. They have got to in the future get fans in the building. You can't have what we had the last couple of years, where you had games with 3,000 and 4,000 people in the building. That is a killer financially.
Yeah.
UNLV.
It's depressing on top of that.
Adam, do you know the whole field?
Yeah, UNLV's opening with Carolina. Also in is Stanford, Texas, Indiana, Alabama, Davidson. Yeah, I can't remember. There's one more.
NC Asheville didn't get in, though.
No, they're not in. Oh, Providence.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I was just talking about that with my buddy Rich yesterday. Speaking to somebody in Providence.
Couple more football games, college football games. Wisconsin.
By the way, they're very excited about the Friars.
Are they?
Yeah. The buzz back in Providence is going to be a good team. Ed Cooley's very well regarded back there. Excellent coach, and they're right on Cooley. He's a terrific coach.
Adam, you would have taken Cooley at Michigan, right, over Howard?
I would have taken Calvin Coolidge over Juwan Howard.
He does not like Juwan Howard as a coach, even though he's got the number one. This year, he's got the number 1 recruiting class in the country. I don't like him.
See what he does with him.
All right, Dave, Wisconsin Northwestern, 7.5.
Yeah,
all 7.
My numbers say I'm supposed to play Wisconsin. I didn't do it because there's a stat on Northwestern defensively that I don't like laying points into, so I stayed off the game. I think Wisconsin might wear them out over 4 quarters, but man, Fitzgerald, this guy's dangerous as a dog. Good game. I think Wisconsin. If you're giving me money to bet with, I'd risk it on Wisconsin.
All right. Someone earlier was asking about Tennessee and Auburn. Auburn is 10.5. I know this. I'm not rooting for I'm not rooting for Tennessee to win. Nothing against the kids, but that coaching staff, what a bunch of jabronis.
Well, this is a real mess. I mean, this is the whole staff except for Pruitt is basically done. Yep. Pruitt's going to be back. Okay, he's safe. And I have good contacts at Tennessee, so I get really good information on this school. The thing, and I think we might have mentioned this last week, but a lot of people might not be aware of it. They asked the assistant coaches to take pay cuts. Two of them, T. Martin and one other, said, okay. The rest said no. And it's already out.
I still can't believe that.
It's already out that, the Pruitt is going to get to stay, but Fulmer is going to make him fire a lot of the assistant coaches. So you've got a staff that basically is already looking for employment elsewhere. The quarterback, Garantano, is still the starter, but he's not very good. The Bailey kid can't play. They're already apparently actively looking, which means recruiting, to get a grad transfer in to play quarterback next year. This is a throwaway. Unless Auburn sucks tomorrow, they're going to win this game by a comfortable margin.
Who knows? Maybe Garantano will land at Rutgers. I don't think that's the upgrade they wanted. Just his background. His dad actually played wide receiver at Rutgers when I was in school. So people at Rutgers were pretty pissed off that they couldn't get a legacy kid. So as it turned out, he hasn't been very good.
No, he's apparently a really good kid, but he doesn't have that it factor that you need in terms of leadership for a quarterback. That's what I'm told. He's just not the most confident guy in the world.
It's a good point. Dave is looking Santa-ish. If you grow that out, Dave, can you grow out the beard so it's a little bit bushy?
I could, but it's I don't want to. And I missed my appointment on Tuesday because I had some other stuff going on. But I will definitely be getting the beard trimmed on Tuesday like I usually do.
I don't like that.
I look bad enough already. I don't need to make it even worse.
On to the NFL. Adam, the floor is yours. What do we do with New Orleans and Atlanta? How much is Jameis actually going to play? Is this all a smokescreen? I'm hoping New Orleans goes to 3 by Sunday because I think it's one of the better plays of the day because I am confident Jameis is playing. May not start, but he's playing.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident in it too. I don't know if I'm confident enough to back it up with my money because whether he plays makes that determination for me. You know how I feel about Jameis. If he's playing, I'm betting the Saints, and if Taysom Hill is playing, I'm betting the Falcons. It's that simple. That's where we're at. But I do believe that Jameis Winston is going to play the majority of the snaps.
Dave, what do you think, Dave?
This depends on how much you believe what you see, because the word is, and these are NFL guys with the blue check marks. So they're legit guys. They're saying that they're game planning for Hill to be out there basically the whole game. Now, I don't know that, and I believe that. If I'm the coach, I'm going to say the same thing. I'm not going to tell you what I'm doing. So I think Winston's going to be out there for a good piece of the game, but I could be wrong. We'll have to wait and see. I know this. This is Atlanta's Super Bowl. They're not going to make the playoffs, okay? But if there's one team they want to beat, it's the Saints. This is their big rival. And over the years, but a lot of underdog wins in this series. So I definitely can see the Falcons here.
By the way, we talked about it the other day, and the answer is yes, of course. But only ESPN allows him tight end eligibility.
I was just going to
CBS. Yahoo and CBS do not.
He's a tight end. That's awesome.
Trust me, I know all of it. I know. I've checked on every single Yahoo and CBS to make sure he wasn't eligible, and he is not. Only on ESPN leagues. He probably shouldn't be, but that's for another day. We talked about Atlanta the other day. People still, and I heard fantasy experts today talking about this, of whoever's in there at quarterback, they're going to take advantage of that awful Atlanta defense. Atlanta's defense is not awful anymore.
No, it's been pretty good lately.
Look at their last 4 games since they made the coaching change. They're actually pretty good. So enough of this, worst defense in the league narrative. I think Atlanta's going to win some games down the stretch because I think their defense is playing better and their offense is more than capable of winning games, especially now that they're healthy. This might be the first time, and I think I pay attention to injury reports more than most because of my fantasy obsession. Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, Russell Gage, nobody has an injury designation going into the game. I never remember that somebody wasn't questionable or doubtful or something going into a game. They've got them all. So I think Atlanta's offense is more than capable. Their defense has improved greatly. I'm not going against them if it's Jameis because I think it's going to be really tough for them to try to prepare. If they're preparing for Taysom Hill to try to adjust to Jameis, and Jameis isn't going to play like the Saints have on film at all. Like if the Saints or if the Falcons watch the film on the Saints, it's going to look like a totally different offense with Jameis actually taking shots downfield, which they don't do with Breeze. So I think it's going to be real tough to prepare for them. It's going to be tough to prepare either way. So I'm confident that Jameis is going to play a lot, but I don't know if I'm confident enough to actually bet it because I don't know what they're doing down there. I also have a feeling that Sean Payton was going to start Jameis, obviously, because when Drew Brees got hurt, Jameis went in. Obviously, Sean Payton is more comfortable with Jameis than with Taysom Hill, and I think Mickey Loomis might have called him and said, "Hey, asshole, you made me sign him to a fucking $21 million deal. You better fucking play him. Like, you're going to make me look stupid if he's not playing."
Stop.
So I think
Peyton has all the decision-making power.
Sure. So I think
would
he's
agree
going
with that.
I think he's going to screw him over and be like, "Okay, I'll start him," and then Jameis is playing the rest of the game.
Oh, okay. All right. That was good. That was close to that point.
I think personally, I think you'll see both guys out there. I think
you will.
Hill is going to see a lot of action, and I think Jameis is going to see plenty of action. And we'll be. I'm curious. I really am. I want to see Jameis because I want to see if he plays smarter than he did. You know, working on the same team with one of the brainier quarterbacks out there, and Drew Brees. I mean, maybe he's learned some stuff in terms of not trying to be a hero on every play, because that's really been the biggest issue for Jameis Winston in his career, is that he tries to make too many plays and ends up getting himself in trouble with horrible turnovers when he just eat the ball, stupid. Guy's got a ton of talent. I mean, there's still room. This guy still has a chance, in my opinion. This is not a guy who's, to me, is a backup for the next 10 years. He's still got a chance to be a really good quarterback, but he's just got to get smarter.
Don't get Adam started. Leave it at that, Adam.
I'll drop it.
Dave, can you convince
I don't know. Maybe he's not smarter. We'll have to wait and see on that.
Dave, can you convince me to take the Colts against the Packers? 1.5. Packers are a very hot play right now. The money and the tickets are like over 80%.
I'd rather have Indianapolis, but it really boils down to this. I don't trust Phillip Rivers at all.
Yep.
He's just entirely capable of giving up 7 points. And those are tough to make up. I get they signed him for all this money, so they got to put him out there. I think they're a better team with Brissett.
Oh, wow.
Me too. Been saying that all year.
I'm not saying Brissett's a superstar, but I think he can manage a game better than Rivers.
I love this line. As Havasu George says, how is Miami favored by 3.5 over Denver? Feels like a trap game. By the way, it's gone to 4. It's still 3.5. What do you think, Dave?
I mean, it's a great spot for Denver, but I can't. I at this point I can't play the Broncos because their quarterbacking is simply atrocious.
Yep.
I mean, I was a little critical of Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers is still a whole lot better than what they've got in Denver. To give up on Drew Lock, this guy's not a starting quarterback. Okay, he's just not. And Elway is still batting. It's amazing. The guy is still batting 0 on quarterbacks. How does one of the best quarterbacks of all time be this bad a read when it comes to talent? And I'm not a guy. I wasn't real high on Drew Lock coming out of college, so this one's not a real shock to me. I don't know what they're going to do. And I thought last week you saw the first indication of what happens. I thought the Denver defense was playing really well in that game. And then they kind of just gave up in the second half because it's like we're playing our ass off and this shithead's throwing the ball to the other team. Defenses eventually do start to give up. And I worry about that with the Broncos. So it's not a good spot for Miami. But I think Miami might get there anyway. I don't want the dog.
I don't think Drew Lock's playing, by the way.
No, I don't think he is either. But the thing is, as
if
bad as
he's
he
your
is,
best, if he's your best guy,
he still might be their best guy.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. If he's your starter, you don't want to see the backups. And Rippon had like some spots, but
he's not.
there was a lot of bad in his.
He's not.
On his
He's
tape
not
too.
even. He's not an NFL backup. He's not.
I think it's right. I think it's correct.
He's not one of the 64 best quarterbacks in the NFL. That's really saying something.
Adam, I protected you today on the air.
Okay.
I don't want to get you in trouble asking you to make
predictions
in Raiders games, but I'm going to make you do it here, and then you can choose to snub me. There's an 8.5 up on the board with Kansas City now, mostly 8s.
Missed your chance, everyone. I think it gets ugly. I think it gets real ugly. Yeah.
Wow.
I do think the Raiders will be able to pass the ball though. So, will they be able to? If they're down 21, do they score too late in the fourth quarter? Possibly, but I think the Chiefs are going to try to blow them out. I think they, as much as the bus thing is a stupid narrative, I think they are going to use it, and they are going to try to send a message and prove a point. And the fact that the Raiders defense wasn't able to practice all week, I think, is a massive deal. I think it's a really, really big deal when you're trying to get ready for Kansas City. And I think Paul Gunther's quote says as much. Paul Gunther says, "I don't know how you beat these guys when you do fully practice. Like, how are you supposed to do it when you don't have your whole starting defense?" I think that they could definitely be in some trouble, and be down like 24 or something like that in the third quarter.
And I'm not playing devil's advocate because I don't want. I mentioned this afternoon. I really don't want the Raiders here. By the way, 7.5 at Circa still. So that's the best price that I can see on my screen right now. The Chiefs want this one. They're going to be motivated. But I will say, I got to say this. Gruden is he's one of your serious candidates for Coach of the Year right now.
Yes.
No question. No question.
Flores is in the conversation. I think you've got to put Mike Tomlin definitely in the conversation. 9-0 is 9-0. But I think Gruden has done a great job with this team. And they're going to go over their win total and go over it pretty easily.
Yep.
8.5. You could have gotten 6.5 about 3 weeks ago.
Yep.
Because they readjusted the numbers.
Yeah, he's been great. But I also think if the Chiefs come in and score early, which I think that they will have something ready to go to get ahead. Like, they'll have something on offense ready to go, and the defense is going to be, not having practice for the Raiders, so it might be tough. I think the Chiefs score quick, and if the Raiders get out of their game plan of running the ball and trying to control the clock, and they're like, all right, they scored, we have to score, that's when it gets real bad.
No, I'm going to rely on the coach there. He's doing it. I might actually. Well, I guess I'd give Flores my vote because they were supposed to be awful, and they're playing great ball. But Gruden's right there. This team's got so much confidence right now.
Yeah,
and they really believe in themselves, and that's making them better than they're supposed to be.
For sure.
We gotta close on this.
Wait, did you get that video I sent you?
What is it?
It's Raiders related.
Oh, okay.
It's I emailed it to you.
While I go look for it, I want you to react to this one.
Okay.
Aaron was talking about Green Bay and Cincy two-teamer, and then he followed it up with, I'd rather have the infinitely better quarterback on both sides. Is Burrow infinitely better than Alex Smith?
Mm.
You mean now?
Yeah.
No.
He's a little better.
Okay. That's
Not
much.
much.
I thought about it. Like I don't love Alex Smith, but he's actually been solid.
Yeah, he's been okay. And he's getting his legs under him now.
Hey.
I meant that. No, I think he's starting to feel more confident about having to take a hit. I don't care who you are. He had to have some trepidation about that. And the Bengals, look, it's tough to say. I'm not downgrading Burrow because he's had some tough games out there, their offensive line is absolutely terrible.
Right,
He's
and
going to be really good once they get some players in front of him.
but that's why this matchup is so intriguing to me. That offensive line against the football team's defensive line, that is going to be some fireworks. That's a game like I do this a lot, but I don't think most people do. But I will highly recommend if you watch this game, it's on Red Zone. Just focus on the trenches. Focus on the Washington defensive line against the Bengals offensive line. It's going to be a nightmare.
Which game is Aqib Talib doing this weekend? By the way, I caught some of his analysis last weekend.
Good?
He was really good. Yes,
Really?
really good. Really good. I want to see more of him. He knows the game. I even sent him a tweet. It's like, damn, man. I didn't think it was his first game, I believe.
Yeah.
And like, wow, this guy's going to be a stud in the booth.
What did he respond to your tweet?
He retweeted it.
Oh, nice. That's good. He was on the Washington game last week?
I don't remember what game it was. No, it was the Lions game, I think. So that was the Redskins, right? Whatever they call it.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Football team.
Yep. Yeah. I think that's the game he was on. It was like, and I just happened. It was an interesting game to me, and because I had no early bets. My two bets last week were on late games, so it's like, well, I think I'll watch this game for a while, and it's like it's really good.
I forgot all about this. That Joe Burrow his parents had plastic on the couch.
I mean, this is one of the great things of 2020 is that you've seen in like everyone's house, and those little things are going to be so remembered.
Hey, Dave, life advice. How old is your cat now, Dave?
The one I've got now, well, his age is unknown, but his estimated age would be between 15 and 17.
How's your cat doing with handling the responsibilities in the latrine / litter box?
He's fine. He's had one accident, and he just missed the box. It was right outside the box, and that's in 3 years. So
we got an old lady cat, and she freaking peed on the couch tonight. And I actually bought, like a professional cleaner. But I'm like, after I cleaned it tonight, I think I'm going fucking like my grandmother's house in 1974, and am I gonna have to get fucking plastic for this goddamn couch?
Well, and the thing is this a brand new thing?
No, it's been happening here and there for like 9 months, and the problem is we have another female cat. She's younger. She's a pain in the balls, so she likes to scare the older cat. So the older cat lives on this couch, and she's like shaking, waiting for this other cat to fucking attack her.
That's not good.
No, it's not.
Yeah. So that it sounds like it's a fear issue.
Yep. And it's not good for my wallet if we have to take her to the goddamn veterinarian 50 times to keep her alive. So sorry, I get a bit heartless when it comes to the wallet. So.
My old cat, Lucky, had some issues in his last year.
Lucky.
But he was 22 years old, and I think he got a little senile. No, it happens. It happens to animals too, because he for no reason at all would get disoriented, and he'd just be standing. He'd be standing in the middle of the room, just meowing for no reason at all. It's something he'd never done. So I think he got senile toward the end.
Yeah. Now I wasn't laughing at your cat. I was laughing at Brady saying that the cat make eye contact as it pissed on the couch. No, but I will say we have a good sized sectional, and. Certain someone sits somewhere, and that certain someone got victimized. His seat got peed on, so
that's not good.
And I didn't realize it until I had just had a nice meal, and then I was like, "What the? God damn it!" As I had sat in it for 20 minutes, I'm like, "Fuck." At least I got to eat.
Yeah, well, could be worse. Look, no, I'm not even going to go that. I'm not.
We have an update on this.
It happens.
We have an update on this, by the way. Braden Hope's turtles are alive and well in Canada. They got across the border.
Aaron was saying good couch talk today. Yeah, we hit it a couple of times. JVT's shopping for a couch, Dave, and we were trying. We were trying to give him old timers tips on getting a couch. You don't want to fuck up getting your couch.
But he texted us a picture. It looks like he did a good job, I think.
I didn't want to get down on him. I didn't like it.
Okay.
I think you got to go. No, you got to go to the furniture stores, even if you don't buy there.
Yeah.
Go to the furniture stores around town and try them out. Try them out for size.
That was the thing we said is don't let the salespeople make you uncomfortable. Tell them to get away for 20 minutes. You want to take your shirt off, you roll around, pajamas, you do whatever you want. We had a decision to make today for him. He was trying to debate between an ottoman or a coffee table, which I don't know why it's one or the other. What do you recommend, Dave, if you have to get one or the other, ottoman or coffee table?
Okay, so this depends on whether you walk around at night with the lights off. Because I can tell you and I think everybody's done this, coffee table in the dark, it really fucking hurts when you walk into it. Ottoman, you might trip over it, but you won't hurt yourself because it's cushioned. So I'm going with anything that's soft. Ottoman.
Yeah. Yeah, when I looked at John's choice, I think he made a mistake. He didn't get the Chase Lounge, and he didn't get the recliner. So, I think you need one of the. If you buy a big couch, I think you got to have a recliner or a Chase Lounge because you're going to want to put your feet up. And to me, the ottoman's it's a weak replacement.
Dual reclining sofa, no. You want your own. You want your own chair. This is something I am an authority on. Okay, I've had the same chair for close to 50 years.
Yeah.
It's completely
50 years. What?
Yeah, it's broken in perfectly.
Christ.
Okay,
Yeah.
I mean it is absolutely perfect, and it's my chair.
Yeah.
The only other person allowed in it is the cat, actually, because he likes it too. But if I'm going to watch a game, I just pick him up and put him on the couch. And go, that's yours. This is mine.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's mine. I'm like Archie Bunker was with his chair.
No, you're like Fraser's dad.
I don't know. The only Fraser I know is Ron Fraser, and I assume you're not talking about him.
No, you didn't watch Fraser?
Yeah, the TV show.
I know the show. He was a psychiatrist in a prison.
Yeah.
Okay,
No,
that's
he was a radio.
Oh, that's it. Radio psychologist. That's right. I know that because I've answered a trivia question wrong on it a couple of times and discovered the right answer. So, but I'm not familiar with the show. But I love having my own chair.
Here's a question for you, Dave. Would you defend the most fiercest from an attacker, your chair or your cat?
Oh, the cat, obviously.
Oh, really? 50-year-old chair, though. Have you had it reupholstered over the years and recushioned? I
did have it reupholstered some time ago.
Nice.
Probably about 25 years ago.
Okay. Adam, this is a very inside story, but I just want to mention it. Do you remember I rented a house with a bunch of radio guys, right?
Sure.
Over in Henderson. And
rhymes with?
What do you mean?
No, somebody's going to ask rhymes with who the radio people were.
Oh, it was actually Ray Brewer was in there from The Sun.
Yeah.
He was.
Chad, a guy we know in Denver, and then Brandon Tierney, who works in New York. He works for CBS National. And the story is actually about Tierney because I would go out and, like, I'm so cheap, I would go get secondhand furniture, right? So I had this. I think the sectional we had, it didn't have the connector, so it would slide all over the place. But I actually thought it was like super comfortable. But I bought this like broken down, like fucking. It might have been, it might have been a 75-year-old recliner for all I know. And the springs were fucked up, and it had like under your right ass cheek, it was like a hole, and it sagged down. And I swear to God, Tierney loved that fucking chair. And he's like 6'3" and like 210 pounds, probably, right, at the time.
Yeah.
And he would fall asleep in that thing like he was 82 years old.
Oh yeah. By the way, I'm
like, how are you? This thing is the biggest piece of shit ever. He loved it.
Yeah, but if it's comfortable, the chair's not 50. It's probably like 48. I got it. It was one of the first. It was one of the first things I bought after I moved out of the house, and I moved out in '71 when I turned 18 and finished high school. And I still remember when I bought it because it was. I won a lot of money. I won a lot of money on a horse that I had information on. We'll put it that way. And one of the items I bought was a really nice lazy boy, and I've had it ever since.
I mean, not to get smutty, because we'll build on this. Aaron saying how many cocktail and cigarette girls from the dunes had seen Dave's chair.
No, I I actually
Dave, you must have banged out a couple of broads over the years in that chair. If you don't have to do the work and she's on top, come on. You recline it back. Let's go. Come on, honey.
The chair's been used for things other than watching TV.
Beautiful.
I don't think I ever, to my recollection, I was never with a cocktail girl from the Dunes.
No?
No. I was
More of a showboat guy?
Never other places. No. The Dunes, I know I've told this, but the Dunes used to have Chippendales. And there was a bar, I think it was Mondays. And there was a bar right down the stairs from the showroom. Yep. And the whole premise, the cocktail girls, forget them. You had these women who were all revved up after watching Chippendales, and they'd had several cocktails, and they came down the stairs, and
they're all lubed up.
They were ready to go. So it was easy.
Hot and heavy.
Oh, it was the easiest thing in the world. I mean, the only thing easier was finding girls at the Shark Club who liked cocaine. There were a lot of them.
These are my story. I love it. I always make reference to the yayo at the Shack Club.
Shack Club.
The Shack Club. It's freaking 70s and especially 80s with these.
Oh God, the late 80s at the Shark Club were just. Yeah. It was just the easiest pickings of all time. Because what you would do, and I never liked coke, never liked it at all, because I already have a kind of speedy metabolism.
Yeah.
So it was like, oh, this stuff's gonna keep me up all night. I didn't like it.
Yeah, Dave, by the way,
I would always have some in my pocket.
Yeah.
I would get like a half gram or something like that, because I knew this is going to be, hey, honey, it's all yours.
Look at this. Look at this right here. What are you? You good, honey?
We would be out of there very quickly.
Nice. You got to play it the right way.
I mean, you can call them whatever you want, but they were all hot too.
Apparently, this is a tried and true method of some of the older folks. Army doing it at the comedy club with the male strippers on Thursday. Good job, Miller J. Vegas. Oh God, yeah. Let's not get a black light. Let's not get a black light. I think many houses should not be putting a black light over their couch. You don't know what goes on.
No, I don't know that, and of course, lava lamps. No. Okay.
Lava lamps.
They were big for a while. I never had one, though. I didn't like them.
God damn it. I want to play this video for you, Adam, but I blocked my...
the meat market that was the Shark Club. But you ain't lying there, buddy.
Oh, boy.
God,
do you think it's going to play? Like, should I set it up, or you don't think it is?
It'll play. I don't know what I'm walking into here at all.
Do you want me to set it up?
Yeah, do it.
So Raiders safety, Dallin Levitt, mostly a special team guy, doesn't play a whole lot on defense. He posted this video on his Instagram story. Somebody pieced together the different stories and made it one long video. So you're going to see that here. I'll leave what actually happened here till the end. I'll just let it play, and you can just get the gist of what he's claiming happened.
All right, so I just want to be clear. I do not have COVID, and I get tested every single day for my work. I just got a call from the Nevada Health Department saying that I tested positive for COVID. The Nevada Health Department receives every single COVID test, positive or negative. They receive the results. And obviously, my organization would have been the ones to know if I had received a positive test before this organization, the Nevada Health Department. When I told them that I get tested every single day for my work and that they would have known prior, and I told them that I played for the Raiders, they began to feel all flustered and realized that they got caught in a lie. When they got caught in a lie, they told me to ignore the phone call, to act like they never called, and to pretend that this never happened. To me, this is 1,000 a political stunt, and they're trying to. And just so we're clear, when I called them out for this, saying that it was a lie, they told me they said, "Oh, sorry, we made a mistake. You actually didn't test positive. You, all of your tests are negative." So to me, that's telling me, I mean, I already knew, but this is telling me everything right now, that they're calling folks who probably haven't tested positive or haven't even tested at all and are telling them that they have positive tests. So to me, I'm beyond frustrated. I can't believe this.
Okay.
So the part that cut off in the middle there was the most important part. He said that clearly this whole COVID thing is basically just a plot to shut down the country again. All right. Do you want to take a guess what the problem with this video is? Because it has really taken off on Facebook, on Twitter. The Q-verse, the Qs, I know Steve loves the Qs. They are all over this. And this is now proof that COVID numbers are inflated.
What did he fuck up? What happened?
Okay. This is some brief investigation and just my opinion combined without actually fully, vetting it out. The health department did not call him. There is so many scams right now of you just pick up the phone, you call, and you're like, hey, you tested positive. We need to do tracing. What's your social security number? And it's just a scam. And it is it's so simple to just check it out online and there's how many people this is happening to. It's happening everywhere. And it's fishers, it's scammers trying to get people's information. So this is like, obviously if the health districts are doing this, that'd be a problem. That's not what happened. And now we're all just assuming it is. And oh, by the way, if you ever wonder why the Raiders are having so many problems, it doesn't take very long to figure it out.
Yep.
Yeah, I have not gotten calls because I never answer the phone unless I know who it is.
Right.
So I can't say if I've, but I'm in the age group that would be getting those calls because old people are saps. They are. They're gullible, and they can fall for this information in a hurry. I'm surprised it took this long for a scam like this to start unfolding because it seemed like a natural.
By the way, everybody's saying that Allie believes the video. That's good. That's good remembering. Good memory, but not necessary.
We will. She'll not have seen this, so we'll present this to her without telling her what it is. You got to cooperate in the chat room. Don't be dicks on Tuesday when we play it, and then we'll try to get. I guarantee she'll come out of it and be like, "Yep, that's what I thought too." I actually don't think she will. She's kept it together with. We have one of our hosts, Dave, on Tuesdays is Allie Burns. Oh, yeah, you did a video, and she's like, she loves to start. She's not QAnon. They're calling her Q Allie, but she's not QAnon, but she loves conspiracy theories in general. So now it's kind of become a bit where Brady seems to have a penchant for busting the balls of people who may get riled up. So, check Ari. Last thing, Dave, let's close it out because Adam's got to get up, believe it or not, at 5:30 in the morning.
Jeez, that's disgusting.
He's got to cover UFC and another one of his 500 tests. Lem Banker passed away. 93 years old. For people who were not in this market, say as recent as like 15 years ago, Lem Banker is a pretty legendary character when it comes to sports gambling.
Yeah, I'll say.
Yeah,
and really so well liked by everybody. Great guy. I hadn't seen much of Lem in the last few years, but he was still active at least until recently, evidently.
Right.
And had a lot of great conversations with him over the years.
Tons of great stories. Chris Matthews would go over once a year and talk to him. Get a Super Bowl pick as he got older. I read the note in the RJ today said that going back to the first Super Bowl that Lem actually nailed 20 of 23 Super Bowls against the spread and hit actually on 13 in a row.
Yeah, he had a great run on those. And
amazing.
I used to talk baseball with him because his methodology in baseball was he basically power rated every player. Wow. So he would, and this was of course before you could get lineups in advance. He would project the lineup and do his power ratings and look for value based on that.
Yeah.
So that was way ahead of his time as far as modeling without having a model is concerned. He was a very good sports bettor.
Yeah, and
just the nicest guy in the world. And more stories.
Yep.
Great stories going all the way back to the 60s.
Well, I've been told that he I don't want to say he hung with him. I'm guessing he did, but I guess he was pretty decent friends with Sonny Liston.
Yeah. Oh, I think they were really close friends.
Yeah.
Lem knew everybody.
And he's got stories there.
Lem's. If people think I know a lot of people, and I do, Lem knew everybody.
Yeah.
And everybody liked him.
Yeah, I met him only a couple of times. I think it was at the Stardust when I was in college. Just a couple of times, just hanging out. But I think most people that grew up around when I did probably remember him for doing the spots. I think it was like Monday Night Football that he would do it and make a pick on the newscast, and then he would have a joke, and they were just so bad.
Yeah.
But that's that was definitely the biggest memory I had of him for sure.
Lem was, and I am somewhat similar in this vein. Lem knew a lot of people, but he wasn't a name dropper, and he would if somebody told him something, it wouldn't start making the rounds. And that's part of the reason I've done well over the years in this town is I'm kind of the same way. I hear a lot of stuff. It doesn't go out publicly. You just, unless you're trying to impress somebody because you have to feed your ego in some way. A lot of good stuff you just keep to yourself. And that way people learn to trust you. And you can become friends with people that you might not. A lot of the fears of guys who are well known is that if they say something, it's going to be on the internet in 10 seconds. And they're right.
Oh wow!
So
if you want to go up to YouTube, there's actually a decent number of videos up here featuring Lem. There's actually one going back to. There's one here in 2002. I think he might have been part of one in 1983 on Frontline on PBS. So I might have to check that out later.
Oh, okay.
Be kind of cool.
I remember, I think for many years he did spots with Chris Matthews.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, he did.
They were good spots. Chris did a very nice piece on him today, by the way. Very nice. Good job by Chris. He's a good guy.
That's cool. Mr. Scoop. Yeah. Here he is 6 hours ago. He did a piece on him. So go check that out. LEM Banker, Banker, Lem Banker.
93. That's pretty good. I guess maybe the last year wasn't great for Lem. He had some health issues, I guess, but that's 93 is impressive. I'd sign up for that right now.
Right. All right, everybody. Have a good weekend. Dave, appreciate you doing it. Adam, really appreciate you doing it. I know you got to get up early. So I hope everyone wins their bets and Dave wins a lot. And go check out Dave on a regular basis and what he's putting up on wagertalk.com. All right. And I guess that's it. Make sure you listen to John Von Tobel on the weekend at the Westgate. So